The recent reports about the United States Army loading thousands of AGM-114 Hellfire missiles onto AH-64 Apache helicopters have generated a wave of discussion and even surprise in places like Venezuela, where military developments in the United States are closely monitored. To understand why this news is significant, it's important to break down exactly what the AGM-114 Hellfire missile is, why the AH-64 Apache is such a formidable attack helicopter, and what this combination means for modern battlefield operations. This isn't just about piling weapons onto an aircraft, it's about a highly refined and deadly synergy between one of the world's most advanced guided missile systems and one of the most lethal rotary wing platforms ever built. The AGM-114 Hellfire missile is a precision air-to-surface weapon that has been in service for decades, but continues to evolve with new variants. Originally developed as an anti-armor weapon to destroy tanks and heavily armored vehicles, the Hellfire has grown into a versatile missile family capable of striking bunkers, structures, small boats, and even moving ground targets with extraordinary accuracy. Its name comes from the phrase helicopter launched, fire and forget, although not all models are fire. Some use laser guidance, meaning they follow a laser beam reflected off the target, while others employ millimeter wave radar seekers that allow them to autonomously lock onto targets after launch. With a range of around 8 kilometers, the Hellfire allows helicopters like the Apache to engage threats from a safe standoff distance, well, outside the reach of most small arms and short-range defenses. When thousands of these missiles are reportedly being loaded onto the U.S. Army's fleet of AH-64 Apache, it signals not just a routine resupply but also a reinforcement of America's emphasis on precision firepower. The Apache itself is an attack helicopter specifically designed to carry these missiles as one of its primary weapons. Introduced in the 1980s, the AH-64 Apache has served in nearly every major U.S. conflict since, proving itself in environments ranging from the deserts of the Middle East to urban battlefields and rugged terrain. The design of the Apache makes it more than just a flying missile launcher. It's a highly survivable combat machine engineered to fight in contested airspaces. The Apache's layout is distinctive, a tandem cockpit with the pilot in the rear and the co-pilot gunner in the front, heavily armored glass panels, and a narrow fuselage that reduces its visual and radar signature. On either side, stub wings provide hardpoints for missiles, rockets, and sometimes fuel tanks. Beneath its nose sits one of its most iconic features, the M2 30mm chain gun. A weapon that can shred vehicles and infantry alike with devastating firepower. But it is the Hellfire missile that turns the Apache into a tank killer and precision strike platform of unmatched reputation. Each Apache can carry up to 16 Hellfires at once, typically divided across 4 launch rails mounted under its stub wings. This gives the helicopter the ability to destroy multiple armored targets in a single sortie, something that dramatically shifts battlefield dynamics when hundreds of Apaches are deployed in large-scale operations. In terms of design, the Hellfire missile is relatively compact, just under 5 feet long and weighing about 100 pounds. Yet inside that small package lies a highly sophisticated guidance and warhead system. Depending on the variant, it may carry a shape-charge warhead for penetrating tank armor, a blast fragmentation warhead for destroying buildings, and bunkers, or a thermobaric payload designed to devastate enclosed spaces. The modularity of the Hellfire family is one of its biggest strengths that allows the U.S. Army to tailor the Apache's arsenal to the specific mission at hand. If the mission is anti-armor, the Apache can be loaded with armor-piercing variants. If the mission is counterinsurgency in urban environments, the loadout may lean more heavily on blast fragmentation types. This adaptability ensures that the Apache remains a relevant and deadly platform regardless of the threat environment. Performance-wise, the synergy between the Apache and Hellfire is unmatched. The Apache's sophisticated target acquisition systems, including the Target Acquisition and Designation Site, TADS, and Pilot Night Vision Sensor PM, allow it to locate, track, and laser designate targets even in total darkness or bad weather. Once a target is designated, the Hellfire seeker can lock on and guide itself in, often with pinpoint precision. The Fire Unforget variants allow Apaches too rapidly launch multiple missiles at different targets and then immediately evade, increasing survivability in hostile zones. This shoot-and-scoot capability makes it extremely difficult for enemy forces to respond before it's too late. What sets this development apart, and why countries like Venezuela may find it shocking, is not just the sheer number of missiles being deployed, but the operational implications. Thousands of Hellfires loaded onto Apaches mean that the U.S. Army is bolstering its frontline capacity to conduct sustained precision strikes. In modern conflicts where rapid, accurate elimination of enemy armor and fortified positions is crucial, this scale of missile deployment ensures that the U.S. can maintain a dominant position in both conventional and asymmetric warfare. To put it in perspective, a single Apache with a full load of 16 Hellfires could, in theory, neutralize an entire armored company of tanks or infantry fighting vehicles in just minutes, depending on conditions. Multiply that by dozens or hundreds of Apaches in active service, and the scale of destructive capability becomes staggering. Another important design element worth highlighting is the Apache's survivability. The helicopter is built to withstand punishment. Its cockpit is armored against small arms fire and can resist hits from 23mm round. The engines are separated to reduce the chance of both being taken out by a single strike, and critical systems are redundant. Combined with its agility, terrain-following radar, and ability to fly, nap, over just above treetops or terrain contours to avoid detection, Apache can deliver Hellfires with lethal effectiveness while minimizing its own exposure to enemy defenses. The Hellfire missile itself has also proven extremely reliable over decades of combat. In operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other theaters, Hellfires have consistently demonstrated high hit probabilities, often quoted at over 90%. This reliability is one of the reasons the U.S. military continues to invest in them even as newer systems are developed. In fact, the Hellfire is gradually being replaced by the AGM-114 Joint Air-to-Ground Missile, or JAGM, which combines the best features of previous Hellfire variants with an advanced dual-mode seeker for even greater versatility. But until JAGM fully takes over, the Hellfire remains the backbone of Apache strike capabilities. And the current stockpile ensures that U.S. forces remain well-armed and flexible. From a broader perspective, the Hellfire-Apache combination is more than just a weapon system, it's a symbol of how technology and doctrine reinforce each other. The Apache was designed from the ground up to exploit the strengths of precision-guided munitions like the Hellfire. And the Hellfire was continuously refined to complement the helicopter's evolving roles. This integration gives U.S. forces a significant edge over adversaries who may field attack helicopters but lack comparable missile technology or targeting systems. Even nations with advanced armored formations have to carefully consider the threat posed by an Apache strike package, since armor alone provides little protection against the shaped charges of a Hellfire missile. For countries like Venezuela, watching the U.S. amass thousands of Hellfires on Apaches raises concerns, not just about direct confrontation, but also about the broader and balancing capabilities. Venezuelan armored and air defense forces, while substantial, would find it extremely difficult to counter large numbers of Apaches operating with standoff precision weaponry. Most short-range air defense systems struggle against low, evasive helicopters, especially when those helicopters are engaging from beyond their detection or firing ranges. The psychological impact is equally important, knowing that an adversary can engage at will with near-guaranteed accuracy, erodes morale, and complicates planning for any potential conflict scenario. It's also important to recognize that this buildup is not necessarily about Venezuela specifically. The U.S. Army's decision to reinforce Apache missile stocks is tied to global strategic calculations, including potential conflicts with peer adversaries and the ongoing requirement to conduct counterinsurgency and counterterrorism missions. Still, the ripple effect of such announcements is felt worldwide. And nations paying attention to U.S. military readiness inevitably react with concern when they see vast stockpiles of high-precision weapons being deployed. Beyond battlefield performance, there are other unique selling points of this system that are worth mentioning. One is cost-effectiveness. While each Hellfire missile costs tens of thousands of dollars, it is still far cheaper than the tanks, bunkers, or enemy aircraft it is capable of destroying when paired with the Apache. The value proposition becomes clear. A single helicopter sortie can neutralize millions of dollars worth of enemy equipment with relatively low risk to U.S. personnel. Another selling point is scalability. The Apache Hellfire system is not just used by the U.S., but also by allies worldwide, creating interoperability and shared doctrine that strengthens collective defense structures. Countries like the United Kingdom, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and others field Apaches with Hellfires, meaning that joint operations can be executed with seamless coordination. Looking at design again from a more human-centric angle, the Apache's cockpit is loaded with advanced avionics that reduce pilot workload while enhancing situational awareness. Helmet-mounted displays allow pilots to literally look at a target and designate it for missile guidance, making the process intuitive and fast. Data links and modern communication systems also allow Apaches to integrate with drones, ground forces, and other aircraft, creating a networked battlefield where the Hellfire becomes not just a weapon of destruction, but also a tool of coordination. In terms of raw numbers, the idea of thousands of missiles being stocked onto Apaches suggests preparation for sustained campaigns. Wars of attrition require not just high-performance systems, but also large reserves of ammunition. This move indicates that the U.S. military is preparing for contingencies where Apaches will be flying numerous sorties over extended periods, each requiring replenishment of missiles. From a logistical standpoint, the fact that so many Hellfires can be deployed and managed highlights the strength of U.S. military supply chains, something few countries can match. For a general audience, the takeaway is that the Apache with its Hellfire missiles is not just a helicopter with rockets attached. It's a carefully engineered system where every element from avionics to missile guidance works together to produce one of the deadliest combinations in modern warfare. It's versatile, proven, and continuously upgraded to meet new threats. And when thousands of missiles are reported being loaded across the fleet, it reflects not just tactical readiness, but strategic intent, projecting both deterrence and operational capacity on a global scale.